All right, trying to see if everything's connected here. Trying a new software for the climb number three. Um, Hopefully, it's better quality, make better clips, and to bring on more people virtually. So, just seeing here if we're connected to Facebook, and it says that we are. So, I'm going to get going here. Thanks everyone for taking a look at this video or joining us live here. It's been some great feedback in the first couple of weeks and letting everyone know a little bit, under the hood of how things are going in general with my life and teaching them insights of, hey, this is what's happened in the past and bringing on friends like Al Venus. And we look forward to bringing in more people, sharing their experiences and how it relates to a climb, and that everyone has their own mountain-like obstacle in front of them. So, real life with me right now, since November, I have been dealing with the ups and downs of bipolar disorder, and it's been really challenging. It's been difficult to deal with because I am usually on top of my game with my routine and finding out exactly what needs to be done. And I shared it before, but for me, the perfect balance of mental toughness and self compassion will kind of help you and guide you up that mountain to have an empowered mindset. So I've been constantly reclimbing and using my foundation to get to this type of balance. And what really it has shown me is the moment you say no to one thing, you open the door for another. And that's something I never did in the past. I was always mentally tough, and I really kind of relied heavily on working hard, working through things, putting in effort, and not necessarily looking myself in the mirror, giving myself a break, accepting myself for who I was. And that made things very challenging with my mental health. And um, I think it's really difficult to take a look back on yourself to see where you could have done better. But I know, for instance, I gained this huge chip on my shoulder of overcoming obstacles and just working hard and getting through it and putting my nose to the grindstone. And it goes back to ever since, I guess it was third grade, 20 years now, where I had a reading disability. And I was so ashamed to be different. I was so upset that I had to be in classes with two teachers. I had to leave the classroom and do extra tests, you name it. But what started to build up there was this fear of not being the same as everyone, even though it was typically normal to have a reading disability or have other things that are having trouble with. And I just remember from that point on, I've always just tried to work to get back to that normal ground. That's what I thought, at least, like normal was not having a reading disability, not being in these classes. And I suppressed a lot of, negative thoughts about myself. I suppressed a lot of different things when it came to my feelings on how I felt just being behind. And it never was really a problem for ever being behind. I kept caught up. I overcame my reading disability, but that suppression, I talked about it before. We are a culture of suppressing stuff and building a foundation on top of that. And I had that foundation of very fraudulent feelings towards myself. And even small actions like taking Latin in, I believe it was ninth grade. I had to take reading in eighth grade when everyone took a social, Spanish or French. Well, I had to stay in the reading class. So in order for me to feel normal, I went over and I took Latin ninth grade. So that would be the first year that you could possibly take it. But I'd have to say that this suppression of these negative thoughts, they turned into my biggest strength. You can ask anyone that I played, football with or ice hockey, baseball, or just in the classroom. I was never the smartest person. I was never the most talented person. But I would also just put this relentless work ethic forward, and it paid off. It paid off so much so that I became, this athlete, three different sports, award winning, scholarship winning, go off to Ithaca College and and play football there, get scholarships to go there. And it was my biggest strength until it turned to my biggest weakness. I had no balance. I was all front end, front load, mental toughness. I can get through anything. And 10 years ago, just around this date, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And I met it with such aggression of I can work through this alone. I know how to do this. And it didn't work out that way. And I wish I could say to you, I learned right away about this balance, but it took years, almost to this very past year, where I'm recognizing, hey, I got to love myself. I have to really appreciate the person I'm looking in the mirror. I need to take time off for myself. I can't just muscle through everything. As important it is to gain mental toughness, you got to have that balance and self-compassion. And I want to leave it there as, my past, I never knew that I was going to overcome such a huge obstacle in being bipolar disorder and having to face it, all the time. And I wish, I knew when I was younger that life is really about balance. You have to set up a foundation to get up the mountain, but in order to really put you to that peak, you got to find that balance. And that's something I never had. And I never really gave myself, enough time or enough credit to have that type of balance. And it brings me to current day. I'm striving to find balance and always saying no to open the door to say yes to myself. And I think it's really important for people to listen to themselves. And it's very hard. It was very hard for me. Being hospitalized 3 times, I wish I had this concept of balance in between mental toughness and self-compassion. But I know now. And I was last hospitalized in 2020. And man, I've had a lot of difficult times where I have tapped into that self-compassion. And I haven't given up on myself with the mental toughness. And it's a perfect combination for me. But if that doesn't resonate with you, balance itself, whether you can find 2 different things, it is truly, for someone who has bipolar disorder, they're striving for balance. And I find whenever I talk with anyone else about this subject, that it really resonates with them. That true balance in between mental toughness and self-compassion. So I wanted to come on here this week and talk about that myself, because I'm dealing with something that I want to go back and find, different ways to treat myself better. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I wasn't balanced and striving for that balance. The self-compassion I have for myself is really top notch. And if I was in the same seat that I was in a couple years ago, 10 years ago, 7, 4, however you want to put it, I would be in trouble. And that's just the fact of the matter of the severity of my mental illness. And you have to start with being honest with yourself. You have to be vulnerable, but you have to be absolutely committed to finding that balance, not only for you, but for your loved ones, because there's people out there, especially with my connections with Team Garbo and how it was founded. You got to always strive for something. And that balance can really help out, your loved ones, your friends. If you said, just like last week, we talked about Al and how we keep him in communication. It helps you really understand from a level of inner feeling, helps you understand when's enough is enough. And that's something I never had before. And I'm really proud to go through that. But I'm also proud to share that with my friends, my family, my loved ones, because it's really important to me to kind of stay open about it and keep myself honest. So I know that's a lot on balance, probably used it about 100 times in this video here. But I truly think it's important for me to take a step aside to tell you just by myself. And, we'll get back to bringing in more people. But I know it was the biggest game changer for me. And, really sustaining good health is always striving for that equilibrium of mental toughness and self-compassion. Hope that was helpful and look forward to speaking with everyone soon.